Welcome to the Jayda and Stitches show, and welcome to summer. It's time for some nice, light, quick, and simple, easy breezy projects, just perfect for the hot weather ahead. And today we've got a really pretty beaded crochet anklet. You can use crochet thread for this. You need less than 10 yards, some pretty little glass beads, and we're going to show you how to crochet around some little beads. And as a special happy summer to everybody, today's tutorial has a free written pattern to go along with it. You'll find the pattern on the pattern workshop page of our website, and you'll find the link to our website in the description box down below. And if you're on a mobile phone, you might have to click that little arrow button just below this browser in order to get the entire description box to pop open. And if you're looking for more crochet jewelry projects, kind of like this pretty little crochet covered button I'm wearing, we'll have links to other tutorials at the end of our video, so stick around for that too. So let's grab our hooks, grab some crochet thread and some beads, we'll head on into the craft table and we'll stitch up some pretty little beaded anklets together. In order to make our little crochet beaded anklets, we're going to be using a size 10 crochet thread. So this is the thin stuff. For context, it's just a bit lighter in weight than a standard embroidery floss, and you don't need very much, less than 10 yards will do it. You're going to want a pair of scissors, a needle with an eye large enough that your crochet thread can pass through it. The hook we're using is a 2.25 millimeter, also known as a B or a 1 in the US, a 13 in the UK, and beads. The number of beads you need will depend on the size of your anklet. We'll get to that in a minute. This is a pack I got at the dollar store for a few bucks. There's a lot of nice pretty little options in here. These are little glass beads with a decent sized hole large enough that I can fit my embroidery floss or my crochet thread through the middle of it. And once you've got all that together, we can get started. If you really enjoy our show and you have a lot of fun with us here, then consider supporting us. You can subscribe, click the like button, share our videos with your friends, or you can purchase a pattern at our Etsy shop or join and become a channel member. You'll find more information in the description box down below, links to our Etsy shop, and also how to join, and there's more information if you click that join button below this browser. We're going to be pre-threading our beads onto our crochet thread before we begin crocheting. So it's better to err on the side of having too many beads pre-threaded than too few, because you can't add them as you go. For an 8-inch circumference, so for an ankle circumference measurement of 8 inches, I recommend 28 pre-threaded beads. For every inch larger than that, add 3 beads. For every inch less than that, you can subtract 3 beads. You may not need them all, but it's better to have too many rather than too few. So I've set aside my 28 beads and I'm going to start to thread them onto my crochet thread. You're going to take the end of your thread right there as it is on your spool, and you're just going to grab your beads one at a time and thread them on. If the hole in your bead is big enough, you might be able to do this with a beading needle. Otherwise, just sort of wet the end of your crochet thread or run the end over a wax candle a couple of times. That will also sort of firm it up, and just very slowly work your way at pre-threading all of those beads. This might take a little bit of time, so bit of patience involved here, but the end result is very pretty. Once you've threaded all those beads on, just shove them all back across your crochet thread because you don't want them to accidentally come off. And we're ready to begin. We're all going to begin with a slip knot. There we go. And we're going to chain a length that is any multiple of 3 that fits around your ankle with no room to spare. So not too tight, but certainly not loose. You want to chain a length that fits all the way around your ankle so that the last chain and the first chain meet up exactly. And it needs to be a multiple of 3. So 60 chains works for me. You may need more, 63, 66, 69, etc. You may need fewer, but you want a multiple of 3 that fits around your ankle. Once you've chained a multiple of 3, so for me that works out to be 60, that fits neatly around your ankle. So when I push this around my ankle, I can bring the last chain and the first chain together with no stretching, so it's nice and comfortable there. Multiple of 3, we are now all going to chain an additional 10. So 10 more chains on the end of whatever your base multiple was. All right, we've all chained an additional 10 chains onto whatever our base chain number was, and we're going to begin right here on our anklet. So we're going to create this little loop that we use to tie our anklet on with. We're going to skip the first 8 chains from the hook. So the first chain might be a little squished, don't miss it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Find the 8th chain from the hook. You're going to slip stitch into it, and that is going to create that little loop that you can use to tie your anklet on with. We're working pretty small here, so let's just take our time. We're all going to slip stitch into the next chain, so the chain that's right next to where you slip stitched. There it is there. We're going to slip stitch right into the next chain, and we're going to begin our little pattern. We're going to chain 3. This chain 3 counts as a double crochet. Try not to twist your foundation chain row. You're going to skip the next chain, find the one after that, so skip one chain, find the next. Your chains might look all a little sort of bit uneven, don't worry about it. Double crochet, so you're going to skip one chain, double crochet into the next chain, and we're going to be using the V-stitch, but in the middle of each V-stitch we're going to be adding a bead. So once you complete the first double crochet of a V-stitch, and that's it right there, you're going to move a little bead all the way back up your thread. So find the first bead there. Move it up, press it up against the edge of your hook, and you're just going to chain 1 around it. So just now pretend that bead isn't even there. You're going to, and if you need to see that again, oops, where did my bead go? Come back here. You want to reach on the other side of the bead. So you're going to grab the thread on the other side of the bead and chain 1. And now you've attached your bead, you've chained 1 around it. That's also the chain 1 space for the center of your V-stitch. And now we're going to double crochet back into the same place that we worked our first double crochet. So that chain should be pulled up, nice and easy to see, and double crochet. Take your time, working small is not always easy. There's our first V-stitch with a little bead in the middle of it. Ah, it looks so pretty and delicate already, I love it. All right, V-stitch all the way along until we get to the end. It's pretty straightforward. You're going to skip 2 chains now in between V-stitches. So skip 2 chains, find the third, start your V-stitch. So you're going to double crochet into that 3rd chain. And before you work any further, pull up the next bead. There's my next bead. I'm going to reach to the other side to grab the yarn, or the thread in this case, and chain 1. So that locks my little bead in place. And then I'm going to finish my V-stitch by double crocheting into the same chain that we began it in. So double crochet, slide up a bead, chain 1 around it, double crochet, all into the same chain. And your little beads are going to, you can just pop them down into the middle to sort of see your progress, but they are going to want to swing out a bit, but that's fine because this is the outside of the anklet, and that's what's going to be the right side of your anklet. That's what's going to be around your foot. Let's do one more together. So we're going to skip 2 chains, find the third, double crochet to begin the V-stitch into that 3rd chain. Nice and easy, taking our time here. We're going to move up a bead, so slide up a bead. You're going to chain 1 by reaching around, so the other side of the bead, and chaining 1. That locks your bead into place. And then you can double crochet back into the same chain, and that completes the V-stitch. So double crochet, slide up a bead, chain 1, double crochet, all into the same chain. Skip 2 chains, find the third, and repeat the process. You're going to do this all the way across until you get to the end, and I'll catch up with you there. All right. Once you've worked a double crochet V-stitch with a bead in the center of it all the way across, so double crochet, slide up a bead, chain 1, double crochet all into the same chain, skip 2 chains and repeat all the way across. We're looking at the wrong side or the back side of our anklet right now. That should leave you with 2 chains left. So you've got 2 chains left after your last double crochet, or V-stitch I should say. We're going to skip 1 chain and double crochet into the last chain. That completes our little anklet. And hopefully you've got at least 2 beads left on your pre-threaded thread down there. We're now going to make a couple of ties. So we've got our little loop, we've got our pretty little beaded V-stitch, and now we're going to make these 2 ties, and I've got a little bead at the end of each of them because I feel like that gives it just a little bit of weight, a little bit of extra pretty, and it dangles nicely on your foot when you've got your anklet tied up. We're going to chain 25 chains for a tie. So just chain 25 right off the end of your anklet. Once you have 25 chains, you're going to thread a bead back on your thread. So grab one of those beads, thread it back, and now you might find this helps to work flat on a surface because sometimes that helps keep your chains from twisting on you. But you thread that bead back and you're just going to skip the first chain from the hook. That's my first chain right there. And you're going to slip stitch into the second chain from the hook. Again, grab the thread on the other side of the bead and just slip stitch. And that locks your bead into place at the end of your little tie. Now you're just going to very carefully, very patiently just slip stitch back through each of those chains all the way back to your anklet. And that's going to take a little bit of time, so just be patient with yourself. Try not to lose your thread or split it. Like I say, it does help to work on a flat surface. And then we're going to have this nice little neat tie when we're done. Once you've slip stitched in each chain all the way back, you might have something that looks a little gnarly, so just grab that bead and hold on to your anklet, stretch it out. With use, it will even itself out, so don't worry if a little bit of it looks uneven. We're going to slip stitch now into the edge of that last double crochet we made. So I'm just going to slip stitch right through the top of that double crochet. It doesn't matter how you do this, you're just slip stitching into the edge of your anklet. Slip stitch down the side of that last double crochet, so stick it in between a couple of loops there. We're going to slip stitch into that first chain we made. It'll still have its little string dangling. And now you're going to repeat for the other tie. You're going to chain 25, thread back that bead, slip stitch into the second chain from the hook over top of that bead, that secures it into place, and slip stitch into each of the remaining 23 chains. So you chain 25, slip stitch into the second chain from the hook, and each one back. Don't forget your little bead, and that will be tie number 2. Once you finish that second tie, same thing, just pull on it a bit, smooth out those chains, and you're going to slip stitch back into the same chain that you started that tie in. And that is it. Grab your scissors, fasten off your thread, and now we're going to grab our yarn needles, or our little sewing needles in this case, and we're going to weave our tails in nice and easy. I'll show you a little bit of what that looks like. But if you've got any leftover beads, you can slide them back off. Where did I put my little bead thing here? There it is. Slide your beads back off and put them away so you don't get them lost. That's if you had any left, or you can just start threading more on to make another one. And now we want to grab our needles and thread up our little tails. I'm going to start with my long tail first. I've threaded it into my needle, and I'm going to weave it back and forth through some of the foundation chains here along the bottom of my anklet. So I know it's a little bit tricky to see, but all I'm going to do is very slowly weave it back and forth through some of the chains. And I'm going to go out 5 or 7 centimeters or so. I'm going to very slowly pull it through. I'm going to keep some tension on that tie because I don't want to cinch, see it, you don't want to cinch up the end of your anklet. So you want to keep that nice and loose. Get that little tail out of the way there. And then you're just going to flip your anklet around. You're going to hop over top of the last chain that you came out of and just slowly weave your tail back and forth through those chains going back the other way. And you should have enough tail here that you can do this 2 or 3 times. Remember to keep tension on both ends of your anklet when you pull it out. Because you don't want to cinch up the anklet. And you're going to go back and forth a few times. You won't even notice that little extra thread woven in. Once you've got your tails woven in, it's ready to wear. You can wrap it around your foot with the beads facing out. And just take one tie and pass it through the loop on the other end of your anklet. Then you can tie both ties in a nice knot. Knot it twice just so it doesn't want to go anywhere. And you can head outside. And there you have it, a simple and really pretty, delicate little beaded crochet anklet, just in time for the hot weather ahead and hopefully the beach. We hope you enjoyed crocheting these along with us this week, and we will see you soon here on the Jayda InStitches show. Until then, stay safe, stay crafty, and have an awesome week. Bye everybody.
Hi everybody, Mr. InStitches here. Thank you for watching today. Here are some of our other videos you might be interested in. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe.